I think it's going to be maybe a little rough just because Gluttons you're normally hoping to stabilize the board with them, and Princess Takes Flight can help you get over top of that. But overall, I think Reid's deck is maybe a little bit more powerful.
All right, let's find out what happens, everybody. It's time for round number 9. I'm going to send it on over to Ailey and Corey in the booth.
Thank you so much, Maria. Hello, everybody, and welcome to round number 2 of Limited here on day 2 of the World Championship. Ailey Loney alongside Corey Baumeister.
Hey.
And we're ready to see some giants start swinging back and forth here, aren't we?
Absolutely. Giants both on the battlefield and in the game here. It's going to be an awesome match, and both decks look really good.
They do, they do. Lots of green in this pod. You could see, even from the draft, that these players were fighting over those powerful green cards. So Anthony Lee opened that Yenna, and I absolutely love that card. So I'm looking forward to seeing it in action, hopefully this round. Up against the Duke. Protophyrexia all will be one champion. And, you know, looking to add World Champion to his already very impressive list of accomplishments.
Exactly. That is the one accomplishment that he pretty much hasn't had. He's pretty much done everything else in the game. So definitely looking to cross that one off to have the most fulfilled, you know, career you can possibly have.
Well, both these players are looking poised for top 8. All they need is 3 more wins. Get to 10. They are through to the top 8. So that is the magic number these players will have in mind. But for now, let's jump in and get this game underway and see who takes it down, who will become our leader of this tournament.
Absolutely, and looks like Reid just having the 2-lander here. We'll see if we top decked another one. Has this to ramp out as well, but we saw Reid's deck, and it's slightly clunky, although extremely powerful. So Reid very much needs to hit the land drops and have the big payoffs. Kind of playing ramp in both formats, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, you know. You get to do the big dumb thing first, like you win, right? That's just what green wants to do.
There you go.
Cooped up. Going to imprison this poor little Root Rider fawn. Just keep that from adding to the ramp plan here for Reid Duke. In hand, return from the wilds, excuse me. Beanstalk, Wormplant Beans, Feed the Cauldron, Scarecrow Guide, Hamlet Glutton. So no double lands to take advantage of plant beans. It's not an explore.
Definitely not. And Cooped Up, you know, does not shut off the mana or anything. So, you know, this is just a, you know, a bit of a weird looking play, but we do see the stockpiling Celebrant.
Sure.
And that is what Anthony is looking to do, try to get some value off that and return it for now. And also not take 1 damage.
Very important.
There you go.
So it doesn't stop the activated ability, but no blocking or attacking from the fawn, which it's not really looking to do anyway. But, you know, having something on the board is oftentimes just a good little insurance policy if there is something you want to bargain later on. If we were to see a Hamlet Glutton, for example, just chew that Cooped Up. It's all good.
There you go. Or just return it with the Celebrant. You know, I love that card too. The value if you have like Prophetic Prism, something like that, or even something like this where you're not gaining that value from replaying it. But Scry 2 to really smooth out your draws is very helpful. And I believe we saw Princess Takes Flight as one of the cards that Anthony is looking at. Incredibly powerful Saga.
I got the Cooped Up, got the Archon Instant, and the Knightly Valor in hand.
And I believe land 5, so I mean, Anthony's hand is extremely good.
Stockpiling Celebrant is so good with Princess Takes Flight.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hamlet Glutton is extremely good with it. It looks like we do still... The only thing that Anthony's really doesn't have right now is the second green source. So can't really curve that out perfectly quite yet.
Needs to find another forest or a way to make green mana.
You can always just use the Archon's Glory to bargain away Princess Takes Flight if we want to do that. And there's the first really good target with the 5/4 as well, so we could easily see it.
Beanstalk Worm hits the board. Pretty, you know, formidable foe on the battlefield in this deck of big dumb green things for Reid Duke. You know, it's kind of impressive looking at what he managed to draft here. He's gone with the, you know, okay, maybe a little bit of the big dumb blue, you know, 5 mana value or more creatures, that archetype, which doesn't take off by itself, but having the extra black cards in there, the removal suite being mostly in black, it's quite a solid deck.
Yeah, and most of the time, you know, the up the beanstalk kind of style deck where you're trying to play ramp plus 5 drops, it can go awry pretty easily because, well, you don't want to fill your deck with a bunch of 5 drops in a pretty aggressive format.
Yeah.
So, you know, you really got to have a fine line in deck building. You really got to know what you're doing, and, well, Reid Duke knows
Pretty
exactly
sure
what
Reid
he's
knows
doing.
what he's doing, yeah. One of, you know, the most outstanding players in Magic currently and, you know, ever as well. And winning the World Championship here this weekend, if Reid can do that, that's just going to cement him.
Absolutely.
As one of the best.
And that would definitely lock him up for Player of the Year as well. So really incredible stuff.
Turn passes back here to Reid Duke now. Root Rider Fawn and the 1-drop on the board. And we're going to feed the Cauldron on Reid's turn to get that food token.
Yep, get a food token. And has the Hamlets for next turn, but doesn't look like we have the 5th land to put it out there right now. Just wanted to get that food.
Yep. Scarecrow Guide joins in as well. It's not like, you know, the first choice for mana fixing, the Scarecrow Guide, but, you know, it is a 2/1 body. It does have reach. So
perfectly reasonable 2-drop.
Yeah, can help out in a pickle.
Yeah, oh, you can drop it. The dice was on top of it.
You're safe this time.
So not being able to have that Celebrant take flight here is a pretty big deal. Saving Reid from taking 5. And now there's got to be some way to bargain out this Princess take flight, or the 5/4 is coming back. Anthony really wanted to draw a green source here to be able to get rid of that. But
there is the Archon's Glory. It just needs a target. So
exactly. So upkeep can always bargain it away.
Yeah.
And get some extra damage in there. But the Hamlet would have been a nice play here, especially since Sir Armont doesn't give a role to itself. You know, it is another creature.
Yeah, and Archon's Glory can target any creature. So if Sir Armont were to disappear, that Hamlet, that Beanstalk Worm is not coming back for Reid Duke.
All right, so we hear Anthony saying stop at upkeep, going to draw. The trigger will be on the stack. You can wait until you see what you draw. Nice sequencing there from Anthony.
Yep.
This is in your draw step?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Beanstalk Worm stays exiled. We now have a Flappy Sir Armont, flying and lifelink, +2/+2. So, you know, nice little way to pad your life total against very green, tramply creatures that Reid Duke does have at his disposal.
Yep, absolutely solid play. Looks like we have the cooped up aimed at the 6/6.
Oh, yeah.
As well as putting Frostbridge Guard down. So this is an extremely good turn for Anthony.
Yeah.
14-24.
But Reid just has another 7-drop. And then another 7-drop all ready to go here.
Fetch Quest 2.
Yeah.
Let's go. Man, Fetch Quest is so fun.
Really good.
Kind of like a build your own Breach the Multiverse.
Yeah, we'll see if he goes for just another 6/6 here instead of fetch questing. Just because, well, you can miss. You know, there is some variance when it comes to that. And Reid Duke's best card is already these Hamlet Gluttons. You know, has 3 of them, so could still quest into another one. But I like this safe play. Just make sure to get another very powerful threat on the battlefield to keep putting pressure on Anthony.
And Reid and Anthony were next to each other in the draft, if I remember rightly.
Yep, they were,
So they're probably looking at each other's cards and being like, oh man, imagine it with our forces combined.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that is really a big thing, too, that they both ended up in green. It was just a really green-heavy draft, it seems. And a lot of people drafting green. So we saw, you know, Ken's deck in the last round, how powerful of a red-black deck it was because, well, there wasn't that many people that actually went for it.
Interesting to see how the players draft in this
Knight
situation, you know, because drafting on MTG Online or MTG Arena, it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
And what you're used to seeing on there, what the data says, it doesn't always translate to the World Championship stage.
Yeah, absolutely. You think, like, wow, my deck, you know, these packs must have been so weak at the World Championship. My deck's nowhere near as good. It's like, no, the players are taking all the good cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Anthony was sandwiched between Reid Duke and Gabriel Nassif.
Oh, yeah.
No big deal. That's a nice draft here to try to navigate.
In the middle of a Hall of Fame sandwich, huh?
Goes for the trade there.
Alrighty, so we do have 7 mana available. There is Fetch Quest. And Return from the Wilds for Reid Duke.
Yep.
How many Hamlet Gluttons have we seen now? Just the 2?
We've seen the 2, so could definitely hit another one off this Fetch Quest. I mean, there's still some other strong cards. I believe we saw the Gingerbread Hunter as well.
I think Gingerbread Hunter's got my favorite adventure. Puny Snack.
Return from the wilds for a human and a food.
Yep.
Whoever named the adventure side of things needs a raise because they're so funny.
Yeah, absolutely. A punny snack.
Puny, not punny. Well, I suppose punny, yeah, sure. All right.
Decides not to go on a quest here.
Yeah.
Just decides to deploy some of the other threats.
I like the Stormkeld Prowler coming down first, you know.
Yeah.
Would get the advantage off of the Fetch Quest if that's the next place we go for Reid Duke.
Yep. Looks like Reid's just trying to soak up as much value as possible with both players being at such a high life total. I like that decision quite a bit. There's really no rush. Now there's a little bit more of a rush,
Oh, yeah,
you
there
know?
go. I got a big beater on Anthony's side of things.
But Anthony is hellbent, so nothing left in the tank here. So even if that is a powerful play, with Reid playing Fetch Quest here, getting 2 counters on the 2-1, you can already just double block to deal with it. So, I mean, this game is just absolute, the pure definition of a board stall right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see if Reid can crack it wide open here. As you mentioned, the 2 counters on the Stormkeld Prowler. So the Raccoon goes on an adventure. Oh, Gingerbread Hunter.
There it
Okay.
is.
You know, you'd like to get the advantage of Puny Snack, but not going to happen this time around. We'll get another giant on the board, as well as a food token. So
Yeah, and you, of course, would like to draw that so you can get some value, maybe killing the guard and then playing it. But since it does go to the graveyard after the quest, you just definitely want to get the best creature.
Yeah. And currently the only thing keeping Anthony's life total at this point is, of course, the big Hamlet Glutton and this Tapper, which we don't often see played
Yeah,
in the draw format.
exactly. Yeah, the blue-white kind of tap style deck ended up not being as powerful as maybe it looked, but it still has a nice home in some of these Boros decks, Celestia. Still a fine card.
Yeah, it's both players hellbent, essentially, and the board state certainly favoring Reid Duke at this point.
All right, there was a hunter off the
hey.
top. Another.
That could make blocks a little interesting.
So it doesn't look like Anthony has any access. Nope, there's the swamp, so could play that first. Would have really loved that last turn, or a couple of turns before that Prowler gets extra counters, but there's still plenty of good targets. Hitting Bramble Familiar is great here because the long game on that card, you know, is great. You can just bounce it,
Oh, yeah.
request, bounce it, request.
It's really sweet when you can, you know, use the Bramble Familiar to block and then return it to hand.
Yes.
It's like, aha, now you see me, now you don't.
All right, nice play there from Anthony, being able to kill the creature and get the hunter down.
Board stall yet again.
Yep. And there's Brave the Wild, which can turn one of these lands into a 3/3, but a 3/3 is not really getting in there at all, so.
Let's have a look at the lists here.
Yeah, we're in for a long game.
Yeah, get comfy, friends. What do we need from either player to break this board stall open?
Maybe we can not do this.
Okay. Oh, hey, Paolo.
Paolo's
What's up?
here.
Yeah. Now, from Reid's side of things, does have the Candy Grapple, Feed the Cauldron, I think we saw earlier.
Yep, that was already cast.
Not much else main deck. There is the, you know, the stray copy of Balluna's Gatekeeper to bounce something.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. This, you know, not a lot of games come down to decking, but that library already is starting to look pretty small for Reid as they shuffle up.
Yeah. And, you know, especially casting Fetch Quest, you are dumping a big portion of your deck into the graveyard.
Yeah, most of those effects usually like kind of put the cards at the bottom in random order or something like that. But especially putting them into the graveyard, even if Reid was trying to do this plan of return it, quest again, you can't do it too often.
No, you can't. I think I've done it once in Limited. I got
Yeah.
Gruff triplets off of it, so I was very happy. But
Wow,
then I had
living the
3
dream,
cards left
huh?
in my library, and my opponent just had a Bitter Blossom.
Okay,
so, you know,
okay.
not really getting through
Impressive.
at a quick enough pace there, but
Good.
as it stands now, these big giants need to start picking up trees and smacking each other with them. For Reid Duke, some form of evasion. All right, Candy Grapple.
Okay, that'll help.
Yeah,
Go.
lots of stuff to bargain away to get the -5, -5.
But still really no way to kind of push through. There's no obvious
Yeah,
obvious attacks to start.
and this Frost Bridge guard just starting to keep the creatures at bay, tapping down. So now it's basically deploy something, pass the turn.
Go.
And you know, this could well be a strategy for Anthony. It's just like, okay, you are many more cards down than I am in library, so I'm just gonna
Exactly.
dump things down, gum up the board, soak up as much damage as possible, and make you have it.
Yep. And most
Find
of
a
the
way.
oh, okay, there is a big draw from Reid.
All right.
One of the few blue cards in the deck. But gatekeeping to bounce a creature, as well as play just a very powerful 6/5. You know, we'll probably just see like bounce on the knight.
Yeah.
Anything else that you bounce is just getting recast
Bounce
right
your
away.
Frost
Unless,
Bridge card.
okay, going for a tempo swing here.
I guess I should tap my response. Yeah. tap it.
Okay, cool. So in response to the Frost,
Discard card, lose 2 life.
It's
wait, did that get bounced?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, yeah.
Yep, bounced and
Like
then
last
just
week.
nightmared away. So
Oh.
nice job by Reid there.
123.
Oh, yes, there you go.
I agree.
All right, that was huge. That was a huge turn for
Yeah,
Reid
that's
here.
awesome. Because now the tapper can't
Counters.
Yep.
keep these big attackers from swinging in here for
Yep.
Duke.
And the Hopeless Nightmare is just
turning things sideways.
And the Hopeless Nightmare is just great at being able to upkeep sacrifice, take a scry, find a good draw.
Yeah, try to close this game 1 out here. In round number 9 of our World Championship.
And what a great World Championship it's been so far.
Oh yeah, it's been excellent. Also metagame in Standard. You know, an excellent draw format too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is the nice thing about Standard. We're going to see that in a couple rounds here. There hasn't really been a clear, you know, best deck. Usually at
Yeah.
Pro Tour or something like that, after day 1, you're like, wow, this team really did it. You know, this deck is incredible. And, like, there's no huge standout right now. It's just pretty spread out across the board.
Pretend
Yep.
that we will, boys.
Up the
Thinking about
beanstalk, very good, but could be a little risky if you start drawing too many
Uh-oh.
cards. Have to do a library count on Reid.
Well, I mean, in Reid's defense, I think he's cost at least, he's over half of his, 5 mana value or more.
Yep, I know there's one more Hamlet Glutton that he's probably going to be looking to fetch up at some point.
Yeah, because we've seen the Gingerbread Hunter, we've seen 2 of the Hamlet Gluttons, we've seen
Yeah, I
Fetch
think
Quest and the
that's-
Worm, so I think he's good.
Yeah, maybe the
Deck's
attendant.
not that dangerous.
Oh yeah, Abir is Attendant, and
Yep.
I suppose Balloon is Gatekeeper too. So how many cards does he have left then? Let's do a quick check.
All right, so is tapping a lot. There is Hamlet Glutton. So Drew beanstalked into Hamlet Glutton here, which is excellent.
I'm gonna bargain a Hamlet
Yep.
Glutton, sacrificing Hopeless Nightmare.
Yep.
So can you help us with the triggered abilities here?
Sure,
There's
you gotta pick it,
4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Does this have to happen in a certain order, in a certain order?
So
in the
turn
chain?
to the graveyard from the battlefield because you're sacrificing it while casting this. That's going to trigger one.
He gets to
house.
choose, doesn't he?
I think you do.
That's-
Yeah,
that's-
you just
that's-
get to
okay, so
order
all
how
4
you
of them
want
are gonna
these.
go on the stack at the same time. You get to pick which order they
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Okay, so
That's
I
all 4
want
of them, yeah.
I want the draw to happen last.
Yep.
So I'll
Yep.
add 2 counters. I'll
Yep.
make a food.
Maybe
yeah.
He's living
nice.
the dream here.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
Reid
so
wanting
this
the
now
draw
is
to
a
happen
total
last, so
of
looking
food.
to
Now I'm gonna scry 2.
Yep.
There you go.
to just draw the
2.
best possible card. Wow, and that's 2 spells. It's looking great for Reid now.
Yeah. This is eerily
Top
reminiscent
is
from his
fine,
favorite
gonna draw from
archetypes
the
in
beanstalk.
Constructed, Just
Yeah.
mid-range,
Like in 3 life.
grind them
Yeah, all
out,
right, 5 triggers.
jund them out kind of style.
Probably missed a couple.
Reid's got a brand, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
And look at this Scormkeld Prowler here, up to
Large.
up to an 8/7 for a 2-drop. I mean, putting 2 counters on a creature for casting a spell
Yeah.
is really, really powerful, but The thing that isn't the most powerful is the blue color pair.
Yeah. Beer's attendance, though. This, along with the candy grapple, can make for terrible combat for Anthony Lee.
I think Reid kept the other card on top as well. I could be wrong. Didn't get a good look at it, but here comes the beats.
Yeah, no, he's got like 31 cards just revealed at the moment, so his library is not very big.
Yeah.
Maybe 7 cards left in library.
Yeah, I think one thing. Oh God, it's not going to be the easiest thing, but one thing Anthony really could use is that Yenna to start doing the old cooped up trick.
Yeah.
And with this much mana, I mean, you can really start picking off Reid's battlefield pretty quick, but that candy grapple is probably going to be specifically reserved for that or some kind of really big blowout in combat.
And for those of you who don't know what the cooped up trick is, you activate the ability on cooped up, and in response to that activation, you copy the enchantment or bounce it to hand if you have something at instant speed. So the exile still happens, but you get to keep the enchantment.
Yep, exactly. So essentially 5 mana, exile a card just through some steps. Ends up being a really
something similar in
powerful
Theros Beyond Death as well. You know, one of the sneaky ways to be able to get rid of the hexproof creatures.
Yeah.
Take something back from the yard and then, oops, it's on it. Yeah, that was a great set too. Okay, blocks being decided here by Anthony Lee. Some big beaters coming over the line here.
Yeah.
In the red zone for Reid Duke.
And does look like Reid just has 2 mana available, but just 2 greens, so neither of those tricks are available.
It's got the Root Rider Fawn though. No. Yeah, he could get black. And does he have the Scarecrow still?
Does have the Scarecrow.
Yeah, it does have the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
So can filter
Okay,
through.
there we go. Yep.
Yeah.
So either play is available.
So blocks declared. As best as Anthony can, trying to kill as much as he can without losing his entire board. With the candy grapple or desperate parry.
All right, I'm going to order the Saviors first. Yep. I'm going to filter mana with my Scarecrow Guide for blue. And I'll give your Gingerbread Hunter -4/-0.
Nice.
Okay. But now Anthony does have Kellen's Lightblade as well to do some bit of tricks. So one thing we might see is Anthony just deal with the 6/5 here so the Hunter gets to live.
Yeah, that is the biggest creature alongside the Hamlet Glutton, so...
I think that's what Anthony would have liked to do, but just cannot take that much damage from the Prowler, so makes a lot of sense.
Still has a board state. 1 trick out of the hand here for Reid Duke. Does have that candy grapple, which can be a clean answer for the bigger creatures besides the Hamlet Glutton.
And this is going to be really tough for Anthony to come back right now. Going to need some Princess Takes Flights and then also ways to sacrifice it, but...
You know, just anything at this point to help him out at this stage because, he is a few turns away from having no defenders at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Sentinel of Lost Lore. That's a nice pickup.
It's great. You can get the combat trick back with the Attendant.
I'm attacking with these 2 creatures.
Okay, here comes an attack for 12. Just both creatures getting in there that could also trade with Hamlet Glutton.
Not looking good here for Anthony Lee at the moment. And Reid Duke needs to be weary of his dwindling library at this point.
Yeah, I think that's Anthony's best way out of this because especially being at 20 and having 4 foods to go up to 32 right now if Reid ever wants to do that, I think that's the out is just try to make as many profitable good trades as possible and just hope Reid naturally draws his entire deck.
Yep.
I'm going to see a candy grapple here in combat.
Looks like it.
A candy grapple on your Hamlet Glutton. Yep.
I love getting rid of the Beanstalk, because it is not an ability you can say no to. It is not a maze, so if you cast a 5-drop, you have to draw a card.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Attendance next.
Yeah, and I'm sure that pains Reid to, you know,
not
draw that extra card. But.
Nah, I like that play a lot.
Lost Lore. Yep. Return target adventure you own in exile. Target card you own in exile as an adventure. And exile target player's graveyard.
Return card here and an exile that has an adventure to your hand. That's sweet because it's not just on an adventure, you know. Any card on an adventure is an exile, as is the exiled Beanstalk Worm. So.
Okay, that was huge. Yeah, that got exiled from Princess Takes Flight earlier in the game, and that's a really awesome interaction.
Sweet. Sentinel Lost Lore getting another big 5/4 back for Reid Duke. And oh boy, Savior of the Sleeping needs to do some heckin' saving here.
Yep. Agatha's Champion is a decent draw, but doesn't even have anything to bargain away here. It's just
we still have the cooped up over there?
Yeah, could do the cooped up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can.
Don't think you can do the fancy trick, or can you?
I think you can, right? If you no.
Because it's not instant speed.
Yeah, you can't do it because you would sacrifice it. You can't activate Cooped Up and then play it. If Agatha's Champion was an instant, you could.
Yeah, sure.
Put the exile trigger on the stack and then bargain it away. So something like Cooped Up, that would work, but does not work for a sorcery bargain creature like that.
Yeah, because the sacrifice is part of the casting cost. Troyan Gutsy Explorer joins the board here. You're very late, friend. But hey, if Reid wants to draw some cards, there is a way to do it. I don't think he does. I don't think he does at all. So now it's just turn things sideways and do his best to get Anthony's life total down to 0. I'm guessing he's got like 5 cards, or 4 maybe even at this point left in.
Okay, gets a counter there for a nice combat trade.
Nice. Oh, bye, Paolo.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yep.
And now we're getting to the stage where really all the profitable trades are off the battlefield. Now Anthony's life total starts going down. And this game, outside of some fantastic draw from Anthony, is going to be over here in about 2 turns.
Yeah. He's just hanging in there as long as he can, but...
this was a great game.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. It did look like Reid was in control for most of it, but there were definitely spots when Anthony could have drawn a couple great cards off the top and been in this game.
Those combat tricks, man, they just absolutely rocked it for Reid Duke, getting the best out of the combat.
The penalty is you don't get your
I'm going to cast Brave the Wilds.
Brave the Wilds, bargain, another creature on board, and that's going to be enough for Anthony Lee. We're going to go to game number 2. That was a lengthy game 1, and I want to know how many cards are left in Reid's library, because
it was probably about 5, yeah. And yeah, speaking of lengthy games, you know, we're in a little bit of a different situation. Anybody that remembers the end of the broadcast yesterday between like Willie Edel and Yuta Takahashi, where a draw is kind of eliminating them, that is not the case anymore. Draws are still not ideal at this stage, but, you know, you do need some amount of draws to make the top 8. You don't need them, I guess, but they aren't dead on day 2 is what I'm saying. But these players will definitely still want to be playing as fast as possible, but that game easily could have been a solid 20, 30-minute game.
Oh, for sure. Hopeless Nightmare on the board here for Reid Duke, causing the discard and the life loss. So something to bargain away. We have Utopia Sprawl alongside, oh, that's nice, alongside a stockpiling Celebrant.
Yeah, anytime you're on the draw and your opponent starts with Utopia Sprawl, you don't feel great.
No.
That's a very unique card in this set. There's no other way to ramp for 1 mana.
Yeah, that's awesome. So able to get down a 3-drop on turn 2. You'll love to see it for Anthony Lee fans.
Yep.
Scarecrow Guide, a way 2 fixed mana, not a mana producer itself though.
Yeah, and only has 2 planes instead of 2 forests here, so a little awkward with Utopia Sprawl and wanting to cast a green card, but doesn't really have the expensive payoffs right now anyway, so just getting a creature on the battlefield ends up being better than ramping to 4 mana next turn when you only have 2 drops.
This Red Tooth Vanguard, we saw Anthony pick quite a few of these in the draft, and they were coming around, you know, pretty freely, so with the amounts of enchantments he has available, you know, it's not even a cost trigger, it's just whenever an enchantment enters, it can come back. So this recursive threat could play a big part in this if he's able to keep the big creatures at bay. Yeah, I was almost a little shocked to see that not discarded to the Hopeless Nightmare. Maybe it wasn't drawn quite yet, but being able to do something like Utopia Sprawl, bring it back, not the worst, but that is a pretty big tempo loss as well, so Anthony just okay with getting rid of the Evolving Well. It would have been a heckin' cool card if it just came straight back to the straight back to the battlefield. But
Can you give us an extra minute or whatever? Yep.
There you go. Yeah, at this point, get all the extra time you can for any judge calls with how long that first game was. Okay, there is the forest, so you can get some value going.
Could have Utopia Sprawled and Red Tooth, but I'm feeling it's
Could
going to
have.
stay in hand to keep these guys coming back from the graveyard.
Would have had to name green for
Yeah.
that to double play, so Anthony's probably much more, keen to name the splash colors here. Name black just so you can cast Puny Snack.
Sure. Troyan Gutsy Explorer on the board. Those guys snuck in from Ravnica.
Yeah. Really going up the beanstalk as well, really on theme to Reid's deck, both in the standard portion with Domain Ramp and Limited. And I mean, that's a great turn 3 play. Let's see if Reid has the payoffs. Does have the Hamlet.
Nice.
And has the card to sacrifice right now, so that can come into play next turn.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Reid's had a great draw so far.
Oh, yeah.
Bargain
Bang.
of Glutton. So I'm first scry 2,
Nice.
then gain 3 life.
Let's see what we got there.
Players being as clear as possible. It looks like another Hamlet Glutton off the top as well. Doesn't have the second card to bargain, but there is a forest off the top to just get closer to naturally casting it for 7 mana.
Not really something you're happy about doing, but
Gain
Yeah.
3.
if needs be,
17,
it is
Yeah.
a 7-drop.
Yeah, Reid has a great draw here. Can just play the Gatekeeper next turn as well to get another 6/5, and then if you draw land 7, get another 6 power creature.
Jeez. Mono 6-drops.
Yep.
This cooped up is going to have to do some work. I bet Anthony's just like, yeah, no, where are you, please?
11.
That is the reason I built this deck.
So Reid had Anthony had a really interesting decision here. Could have Utopia Sprawled and Agatha's Champion to take out the smaller creature, but decides cooped up on the Hamlet Glutton to force through damage is more important.
Okay. Taking the aggressive stance.
And that did open the window to cast this Gatekeeper, so there was definitely a cost to this. And it was, face up.
Yep.
It was in the adventure zone. And Reid missed a land drop last turn, but scryed 2 to the top. So, yeah, that was a real decision point there from Anthony. And now he's kind of stuck.
Yeah, can't attack through the Gatekeeper at this point. We'll just get the 3 damage in. So they're going to be on blocking duty now. At least there's no trample on the Gatekeeper.
11, 21. Yep.
So Anthony is trying to keep this Utopia Sprawl in hand,
Yeah.
trying to maximize value with these Vanguards to just try to just say, please Reid attack so I can double block and then play Utopia Sprawl and then bring both of them back.
I mean, that's known information from Reid.
Yeah.
So.
Reid didn't fall for it.
Nah, I'm good. I'll just wait until I have lethal on board, essentially, and then kill you in one fell swoop.
And now it becomes the situation, how long is Anthony going to wait?
11, 21.
Where are we going? Agatha's Champion is a follow-up here.
Yep.
Pretty nice. Does have the cooped up, so setting himself up here to be able to take out the Gatekeeper, if that's the way he wants to go.
Yeah, that's kind of brutal fighting that one, that's for sure.
You type this roll on this. I'll name black.
Black, cool.
And gets to return the Vanguard.
This.
Yeah.
And now can Agatha's Champion or Vanguard.
It's going to be Champion.
Ooh, but now Reid has mana open and has Candy Grapple.
Uh-huh.
And I'll find this.
Ooh, and doesn't even have to
So right now you have one
bargain
card in
it.
your hand.
That's right.
And Reid knows it's Vanguard. He doesn't even have to bargain this. Put Agatha's Champion down to a 1/1, and it's not a bite, it's a fight.
Yep, so that one's going die-die. That's
So
unfortunate.
1/1 fights 1/3.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it does die. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was going to say, is it a bite? Did I mix
No,
that
no, no,
up?
no,
But
no,
yeah.
it's a
Thinking of the
fight.
agendas.
Yeah. I think Anthony was thinking that
They
as well.
knock noggins against each other, so
was
yeah.
such a
Oh,
blowout.
That's rough. Oh, followed up with a Hamlet Glutton. Now the floodgate is open here for Reid Duke. He is just putting his foot on the gas.
This is probably one draw step away from Anthony picking up his first loss at the World Championship so far, which is already just impressive. He's still
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
great, but the Duke looking great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This
Advanced
is-
to 8 wins.
Yeah.
Yep.
And become tournament leader. So
Yep, tournament
Pretty
leader.
good about that.
And just has to win 2 out of the next, what, 5 to lock up a top 8 in the World Championship?
Deck.
It's not surprising anymore, huh?
No.
Reid Duke, top 8. Sure, cool. Almost expected
Exactly.
7.
at this point. So 1 big creature down. Anthony Lee down to 7. Nothing of substance in hand. Hamlet, Glutton, and Sentinel of Lost Lore in hand here for Reid Duke. So here comes the Sentinel.
All right.
And exiles the graveyard so the Vanguards can't come back. Woo.
Oh boy, yep, that's gonna do it. That graveyard exile was the nail in the coffin there for Anthony Lee. So Reid Duke 2-0. Can he be stopped, Corey?
I mean, that deck looks really good. I mean, looking forward to the 3-0 draft match. I definitely have, my advantage to Reid Duke here because that deck looked really, really powerful. Anthony's was really good too. But yeah, huge props to Reid.
Yeah. Advances to 8 wins. So after this break, friends, we're going to be with Maria at the news desk for our final round of Limited.